are all leaders, and we all have an extreme responsibility to go out and to continue to spread what we take from this place, what we get from each other, and not let it go, but to let it keep going.
We defecate in clean, drinkable water in our culture, and then we wipe our bottoms with trees.
Yeah.
It's insanity. Dug a pit. These are brine tanks from water softeners pulled out of the waste stream, and seats pulled out of the waste stream as well. When this one's growing in more shade, the leaves get larger, and this is a kind of a crunchy one, and it's after season, but feel that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That do the job. It's deep down squeezably soft, just like Charmin.
Yeah.
And if you contain it, and then the lid is convex on the bottom so that it sits on there. You know, it really doesn't take a lot. Just enough to cover whatever you've left in there is fine.
Introduce myself. I'm Johnny Dame. This is my first time at a permaculture event. I am an independent environmental educator and a nature artist and a spiritual naturalist. And that means that I believe in the sacredness of nature, and I'm very much committed to trying to heal all these things that happen in the interface between humanity and the natural. Does everyone know about the green swamp?
No.
Okay. The green swamp is something much larger than what it sounds like. It's not just wetlands. It has multiple physiographic landforms, but the whole thing is a basin, and it's a huge basin, and we are in it right here. It's bounded by the Lake Wales Ridge in the east, the Lake County Highlands in the north, the Brooksville Ridge in the west, and the Winter Haven Ridge and the Lakeland Ridge in the south. It is a very, very large basin. It was designated as an area of state critical concern in 1974 because it has been historically the location for the greatest recharge of the Floridan aquifer. And because of that historic recharge, there's a place underground in the aquifer that's called the potentiometric high. And that means it's the highest place in the aquifer for that part of the water. The aquifer is not level. It has peaks and valleys, and the highest peak is about 4.5 miles southwest of here. So it's very auspicious that this gathering would be located here. And I'd also like to tell you that 5 major rivers either source from this swamp, this basin, or are influenced by it.
Grandma's doing, and just get to know each other. So I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I have a 5-acre property, and we practice permaculture there and do all kinds of things. Ken is in St. Pete. Yeah. And what do you do there?
I live currently living at Sacred Lands, where we're currently teaching a 2-week PDC, and we're going to do full-blown permaculture on Sacred Lands. We started a shower in the garden, outdoor shower in the garden. We're looking at a commercial off-the-grid kitchen, different kinds of design elements to support what is essentially a cultural and an educational center on sacred Indian land.
Wow, that's a really great project. So we're going to hear a lot more of that today.
Bradford County, actually, in the Santa Fe River, I have Gaia Grove, Eco Camp, and Eco Village in the making. It's 92 acres on the river. I want to own it collectively with other people. We have some off-grid homes there that use cistern, compost toilets. We want to have a little village of off-grid homes. And then I'm going to turn it over to Wendy. She's going to tell you more about Gainesville.
We have many businesses and nonprofit organizations. We got the Edible Plant Project, which has been going on, and they grow locally easy to grow plants, edible plants, and distribute them to the community for very, very low cost or volunteer. We have a co-op, Citizens Co-op, which just came up last year, and we also have Gainesville Compost, who is represented by this wonderful woman here. What's your name?
I'm Rain, and y'all know me online as Zanob.
The Knob.
Zanob.
Zanob. And
Yeah.
Zanob and her crew, they they bike around Gainesville. It's wonderful. They bike around Gainesville and pick up food scraps from restaurants and turn them into compost.
There's
and
more
worm
than one
castings.
location, so that it's not all in one space, and people can go get the compost when they want. And they also sell at the farmers market on Wednesday.
The Tallahassee, Big Bend area,
Red Hills.
bioregion.
Leon County, Wakulla, Gadsden. Yeah. Okay, so Wendy participated in this. There was the first, we think it was the first ever county extension PDC offered last year in Leon County. It's being offered again this year. Design work, but we're mainly interested in doing work with low-income communities and teaching them about permaculture.
One of our projects was an edible, permaculture edible tree planting in a public park in a low-income neighborhood in Tallahassee. It was on Earth Day of this year, and I think about 70 food-producing trees and bushes were planted in the park. This was in collaboration with the county park, the city park department.
Wow, awesome.
We're also involved in developing the first community garden in Frenchtown, which is also a low-income neighborhood in Tallahassee.
And luckily, thanks to Charlie Crist, we have the Florida Friendly Landscaping clause that's out there that says if they know why they've planted the plants and there is a benefit to the plants, then no one's going to chop them down. We worked on a place called Coquina Gates. If you guys are familiar with sacred lands, Coquina Gates is on that level of coolness. The houses are made by a set designer, big castle, doors and all this beautiful stuff, but they've turned it into an arts community. And now we have events there where we have big art turnouts, and we also put in gardens everywhere. So there are an awful lot of plants with flowers, food, fruit, herbs, the weeds, everything.
Because it's covering Volusia County, there's some people from there. The middle is Brevard, and then the Indian River County is the southern part of our project description. We have about 8 homesteads that are using permaculture as the basis for growing food, and about 3 of those have animals incorporated into their permaculture system. We separated it between plots that are less than 1 acre and plots that are larger than 1 acre. And so there's approximately 5 more farm-like settings in our strip of land on the eastern side of Florida that are above 1 or 2 acres. In fact, 2 of those have commercial settings. There's the Funky Chicken Farm, which is in the Brevard County, and the Crazy Heart Ranch, which I think that's in Indian River County, correct? So both of those are commercial permaculture-based enterprises that are serving the community of people that are in our area. In addition to that, we have the Space Center in our area, and in honor of that, we have the Center for Rocket Biochar. If you want to go to the YouTube, you'll find a video on the creation of biochar using a rocket-style furnace. John Rogers is the lead engineer and spreader of biochar around his own urban forest that he has on about 2 acres.
My wife and I represent the other side of the permaculture coin because we planted a permaculture front yard in the town of Celebration. And we got a $15,000 fine, and we had to tear it out, and now we have a basically dead garden where we used to have permaculture. So we're all about the legal fight and the educational project that has to go on now to get homeowners associations to accept what we see as a natural lifestyle. And I turn it over to my colleague.
We have Fran, who is doing a micro watershed project on her property.
This is going around everybody's on.
Everybody's on. Marabou's in our group. He does permaculture stuff with My Yard Farm, local expert, forager, guru extraordinaire. Cannot speak highly enough of. We have a student named Emily. She's been studying out in the Pacific Northwest, doing mycology and natural building focused studies at Rollins. Benjamin, who's living in harmony, permaculture bullets. We had Jeff in our group who's writing a book called Be the Solution, so look out for that and wish him luck finishing his words. Yes, this gentleman right here, Be the Solution. And let's see here, Chris Deason, backyard gardener. Ben Silvas is doing technology and permaculture and local kombucha brewing. Myself and Michael Tyner, I've been involved with the Homegrown Local Food Cooperative in Orlando that helps permaculture, like homesteaders, sell food to people in the city, as well as like small and medium-sized commercial farms throughout the state and the region. My wife Emily, who couldn't be here this weekend, is the director of the Florida School of Holistic Living, who does bioregional based herbalism training classes with many experts from nutrition to herbalism and just medicine and growing your own food and medicine and whatnot. And we've also been involved with the drum circle community, just connecting people back to indigenous music and rhythm-based lifestyles.
Quarter of the group, awesome.
Big ball.
So we're like covering the Tri-County area from like Fort Pierce all the way down to Key West and a few others on the outskirts. Yeah, so, yeah, there's a good 4 or 5 million people right in that section there. So we have a lot of work to do.
Super city of South
I'm with Permaculture Miami, started an organization down there. We have a lot of co-ops and inner city farms that are listed on the earth-learning.org website. They have a very extensive map that maps out South Florida and shows all of those projects, and they're continuing to add to it.
With myself and my partner Erica representing Florida Edible Landscaping, and we're a permaculture design, education, and consultation group out of Estero, Florida. And we worked on everything from homes to sustainable farms. We're working on a 20-acre holistic healing retreat right now. We just designed a food forest for them down in Bonita Springs. Right now we're starting out with a bunch of classes, so we're getting into the education component as well. We live at Xanadu, Erica, Kelly, Walsh, and myself, and that's our food forest in Estero. We have over 200 varieties of useful and edible plants there. The FGCU Food Forest, huge project. It's one of the first major permaculture food forests at a university in Florida here, and it's Kelly Walsh is the director, the farm director there right now. Erica Clough was the designer of this project, and she's here. And that's a half-acre food forest with 100+ hundreds of varieties coming on here in the spring. We're planting a bunch more stuff at the university. It's open to the public to come check out. It's a great thing to see. It's completely student run, completely student funded, and they went through a lot of work, starting with me when I was there years ago at the university helping set this up. Kelly and Erica are great resources to talk to if any of you are at universities and want to work within the system to set something up like this.
Involved in our local
local food system in Manatee, Charlotte, DeSoto, and Sarasota counties. A few highlights of that. One is the Slow Food Group, Slow Food Greater Sarasota, and particularly their Edible School Gardens campaign. And reaching far beyond Sarasota, Jane is going to be doing a talk at the National Montessori Conference about edible school gardens coming up shortly. Also, we have Andy Firk here from Bamboo Grove, Arcadia. Instead, over 200 different species of fruit trees.
Is the teepee that the kids built with a little bit of help from the adults.
What is this going to be?
We're just, the girl that did the original teepee had said to make a multiple story structure, so we were trying to come up with something with the bamboo that we have.
Spider web with insect, clouds going by, sunlight coming through trees.
I see clouds going by.
Yay, Pippi! Woohoo!
Of the garden that the children helped create.
We took an area that's been abandoned that looked like that over there. We pulled out a lot of the brush that was heavier and thicker, and we used it in the biochar kitchen. And then we came back here and people brought compost. And we added compost to here. We buried kitchen scraps, and we inoculated it with EM, essential microorganisms, and planted these trees and other plants and veggies that were donated by various people.
Leader of Light is an example where they put the water with the chlorine and they converted that ceilings into like sheds and stuff where people had no light. I mean, there's so many different ways we can look at appropriate technology. It can sometimes be people's systems, their ideas.
Absolutely, that this will support me in my life, and I can live my life truly by my own initiatives, by my own desires. Not forced to work, not forced to make ends meet in order to, you know, try to get to that place. You want them to come there and feel like, I'm here, I've arrived, I'm now able to live this life and I can see that it's possible.
I've heard of a lot of intentional communities falling apart is because they were able to provide for themselves, but they weren't like sustaining their relationships as well. So like, it's really important to think about.
I wonder then what would make something sustainable once you start a project. What makes,
and then also what are your resources that are available, and what is the site design? What's the climate like? What are your opportunities?
So there's individual skill sets along the way and trade classes, and sometimes there's just a technique that we can teach, and everybody goes, oh, hugelkultur is great, that's permaculture, and you're going, no, it's really not. It's a really cool tool to have in your chest, but it's not the whole thing. Well, for some people, that will blow their mind by itself. So let's offer a way for everyone, whether they know what we're doing or not, to be able to see what's going on across the state.
Trying to practice organic practices, we're trying to create the circle of life.
And we're witnessing the abundance that comes from doing it ourselves. Yes, it's hard work, and yes, it's a work that you love to do. And basically a farmer's job is to move things from point A to point B to point C so that things start happening and this little circle starts producing and expanding. Then you have products like eggs from your chickens or manure from your chickens that you can sell to other growers or farmers or backyard gardeners for their gardens. So you become more prosperous yourself by creating that circle of life.
Soldier fly larvae bin and soldier fly larvae are close to 30% protein, supplementing their protein with that so I can cut down on grain.
I keep just a few chickens for my family needs, and I'm able in the summer to cut grass from my neighbor's lawn to feed to the chickens. They're away all summer, and so it helps them that I cut their grass.
I think the Chinese one, I mean, I think the native one is a lot smaller, but I don't really know.
You know, I put some water in Reedy Rock Beach and I just don't know the water. Somebody gave it
throughout the world. Nice.
Yeah.
Those moringa ponds are the big ones. Yeah, that tree's been doing
great.
Turkey's be bad. I ran into an herbalist.
No, that's actually
Try some of the sun. It is like the first dragon fruit I was like.
Save the planet.
I got more silverware if you want. All you have to do is look. Thank you. Oh, she's got some maple syrup to share, honey. You want some? Thank you. Here you go. And then everyone's there as an equal partner. That's a coalition. And we have that coalition in St. Pete. We're actually putting a board of directors into place right now, but we'll go over that a little bit too, because it's not the same as what you think of in a corporation. Association, it's individuals and groups, and this is usually a professional association, and again the purpose is to facilitate what the members want to achieve.
Remember, when you're getting together, is to have a clear process for your meetings, have a clear structure. It helps so that everyone can equally participate.
I'll just read my the highlights I wrote down. The need for these folks just spoke to the need for a process for reaching agreement and dealing with emotions. All of us come from fairly strange and dysfunctional social backgrounds. We've internalized a lot of bad habits about how we deal with each other. And so there's a lot of learning that will have to go on to make any sort of community work.
And when we talk about barter, what you're really talking, or not what you're really talking about, but anyways, we're talking about alternatives to currency. And alternatives to currency aren't in some imaginary place in the future. You create those in your own life.
How do you trade hours? Some people think every hour is traded for an hour. That can be very fair. I think that's the most fair in general. Some people think their time cleaning out a toxic cesspool is worth more than something.
Then you
just work it out.
Your nonsense.
But it's about communication one-on-one. If the barter networks don't get too big and crazy and it stays one-on-one, they seem to work.
Donation will be accepted for the convergence to actually be held in Cuba, and all of that information can be found on the Permaculture Institute USA website.
Yeah. You want to help me put us on the map in regards to the world seeing what we're doing. please just get in touch with me. Very easy, permaculturemiami.com, and let's like start creating something and do something fantastic for the world to see us.
Can I mention the sailing piece?
Put it on 360.
I could do that.
Put it in the middle and
stand on the boxes.
get a long shot.
Surfing! Trick surfing!